acted pure evil.
Unraveling the intricate web of lies that...
Have a great day.
Hey everybody, welcome back to What's the Obsession True Crime, and thank you so much for being here. It is a horrible thing. But I was telling some of you guys that were over there. We're going to be watching, after I do a little introduction, we talk about Nichol Kessinger's phone pig and some other things and some details about the phone records and the information that we can glean from that. We're going to be watching a video from the channel True Psych Ward. Now, I put the link to the channel and to the video we're going to be watching in the description box. This video was uploaded 4 years ago, but don't be like, oh yeah, old news, know all about it. If you are interested in the Watts case and you are not a Watts Island super OG and you do not know True Psych Ward, or maybe you know True Psych Ward for other reasons than Dr. B, definitely check out the channel. It's such good information. She is solid. She is facts only, amazing, wonderful creator and person. I think she's a psychologist. Yeah, I think so. And she worked in Dodge Correctional Facility for some time. We don't need to go into that. She had some connections to Chris Watts anyhow. So she, Dr. B, and some other people, when they were, really into covering this case and diving into the discovery and trying to figure out what was going on, getting more information, trying to put all the puzzle pieces together, as we still are years later, they took a trip to Colorado and, they drove from Saratoga Trail to Cervi 319. You get to see them, going to Cervi 319 before the tanks were raised and, got to kind of, check out in real time, sort of walk in the footsteps of Chris Watts and his mistress, Nichol Kessinger, to sort of do some experiments. Like, was this 6:16 a.m. phone ping that, my experts in the field were able to determine happened under 300 to 400 yards of the Watts house? Now, that could be 3 yards, but it was definitely under 300 to 400 yards. Why do we have that number? That's just how they are able to calculate it. And just checked out some other things that Chris Watts and Nichol Kessinger did together. And they also, one of the reasons that they went to Weld County, Colorado, Frederick, Colorado, was because the district attorney's office was going to be giving them some information that they paid for above and beyond what was available in the discovery in the ways of, just information, videos, pictures, things like that. And when they got there, well, they were disappointed because they completely under-delivered. And some of the excuses that they were given from the man and his minions themselves, I'm talking about you, Honorable Michael J. Rourke, you know it. It's just very interesting still to this day. So welcome to everybody who's here. I'm so glad that you guys are here. Thank you for being here on this Friday night. And it's great to see y'all. Parody Street, I don't know if I got your email. Saturday morning, did you get my email? Don't know if it was the right email. I don't think I got your email. My email is wattsobsession@gmail.com. There's no the, like the channel's What's the Obsession, but it's just wattsobsession@gmail.com. Oh, and hey, everybody, if you could just do me a favor, and you know what to do. Hit that damn like. We're a slave to the like here at YouTube. So just do it, right? That's what I feel like. But yeah, please send it again because I would love to get your email and see what you have to say. Hey, Sub Rosa, how are you doing? I'm not going to go through and say hi to everybody because I just want to get into it. But I see you all, and I'm so glad you guys are all here. And, just thanks for being here. Ooh, Ashley Victoria's making homemade chicken noodle soup. Watching Kelly and cozying up is the best. Oh my God, that sounds so good. Good for you for making homemade soup. That's great. It's like so good for you. All right. So before we go any further, for those of you who were not at the live stream last night, you should check it out. I did some follow-up on that topic today, the witness protection topic. Should I just give you a little spoiler and show you what we were looking at last night? I was stunned to find out that you know, I was going through the text messages between Nichol Kessinger and Kevin Kobach, and I had read these out loud. That's what we were listening to in the live stream last night, and I'd read through them a million times. And then when we got to this text message, I'm just going to read it here. Let's see, did I bring it in? Yeah, let me make that bigger for you guys. And this is from Kevin Kobach to Nichol Kessinger. It says, I would like to introduce you to the lead detective and cover anything else you want to talk about. So he's speaking of Dave Baumhover there. So he's going to hand Kessinger off from himself to Dave Baumhover. He then says, oops, I didn't press pause. And it just went as videos do. Oops, I'm clicking on the wrong video here. I'm not. What? Oh, wait, I've got 2 lines. I got to hit the right one. Okay. Also speak with you about witness protection and name change info. And oh my God, I was just stunned. This is like a week and a half after the last video recorded interview with Kevin Kobach and Nichol Kessinger on August 23rd. And during that interview, she's like, you know, can you guys help me with a name change? Can you do this and this and that for me? And he's like, no, he sounds like annoyed. Like, I really don't think so. You just go down to like the county clerk's office, whatever. You know, you can't really do witness protection. That's like a whole thing. Oh, no, I don't expect that. He brought up to her in this text, I want to speak with you about witness protection and name change. This is not something that we were led to believe that law enforcement did for Nichol Kessinger, if it happened at all. Well, now here we've got these texts that were never meant to be out in the public in the first place. How interesting is that? So if you didn't catch the live stream last night, you definitely want to go check it out. I think it was a good one. Yeah, poor Dave Baumhover. I think he suffered PTSD, and I think he also suffered, you know, the condition of I have a conscience where all these other people didn't seem to. Now, that's just my opinion, but it's definitely my opinion. A demon by any other name, but it's a demon. Right. Yeah. They did change detectives. Yeah, they switched from Kevin Kobach to Dave Baumhover. And I mean, it could have just been maybe time for that to happen, but there were definitely, undoubtedly, some weird things happening between Kevin Kobach and Nichol Kessinger. I mean, all you need to know that is to watch the live stream from last night and those 20 pages of offline text messages between them happening at all hours of the day and night. Just, it's off color. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, I'm going to bring into the stream just some information about Nichol Kessinger's phone records, because it is something that True Psych Ward, Dr. B, and the people that went with her, you know, it connects into that topic when we go into watching that video. I'm so excited to watch it with you guys. And if you do not know True Psych Ward, if you have not seen what we are going to be watching, you are in for like such a super treat. Seriously. Yeah, here we go. Welcome to you guys coming in. So glad you guys are here. Please hit the like. Come on in. If you're new, please introduce yourself. Let us know what you're like, what you're obsessed with in this case, where you're from or something, so we can say hello to you. And, you know, please participate in the conversation. We just want you to be respectful to the victims and their family members, and of course, each other, because we like each other here. It's good. In one of the renditions of Discovery that Weld County released to those who requested the Discovery file, Nichol Kessinger's phone records from July 13th to August 13th appeared in the Discovery. It was only a couple months later that we found those who requested the Discovery file got a rendition of the Discovery file that no longer included those phone records from July 13th to August 13th, which really, those are the relevant phone records that anyone would want to see when parsing through this case. After August 13th, really the only interesting things that happened on Nichol Kessinger's cell phone were her searches asking if police could find deleted text messages and some other shady things. Because remember, or if you don't know this, let me tell you, that Nichol Kessinger deleted all of her text messages and any interaction record that existed on her phone between herself and Chris Watts. Apparently, she did this on Tuesday, August 14th, and she says that's because she just learned on that day that Watts' beautiful wife, Shanann Watts, was pregnant, was 15 weeks pregnant. Now, that comes into major question, but that's a whole different topic, a whole different ballgame, and I've covered that in other videos and just might have to cover it again. So as we do look at the phone records from July 13th to August 13th, we see that Nichol Kessinger's phone pinged in Frederick, Colorado, a total of, well, 3 times in that time period. We also have a record that her phone pinged in Frederick, Colorado on July 4th, which I'm just going to set that to the side for now because it's not within that July 13th to August 13th timeframe I'm talking about. But she and Chris Watts both acknowledged that she was in Frederick, Colorado on July 4th. So when we're looking at the 3 Frederick, Colorado pings in that July 13th to August 13th timeframe, one was on July 14th. And this is also a day that Chris Watts and Nichol Kessinger both agree that she was in Frederick, Colorado. Now, in my opinion, July 14th was an absolutely pivotal day in this case, and I believe this is the day when Chris Watts started putting the plan into motion. This was the day when, after one of their outings, I believe they went to the Mustang Museum, they went back to Chris Watts' house, and on this day, Nichol Kessinger claims that the dog Dieter strong-armed her into going upstairs where she saw a picture of Shanann and one of the girls. And she claims on that day, she started questioning Chris as to why he's not staying with his wife. She even went so far as to assert that she encouraged him, starting on this day, to stay with his wife. Now, one of my favorite comments that people leave on my channel is, said no side piece ever. I really do agree with that. The other time, or the second time of the third, when we're talking about the pings on Nichol Kessinger's cell phone in Frederick, Colorado, from July 13th to August 13th, is on July 18th. Now, this ping was actually initiated from Chris Watts' phone. He was also in Frederick, Colorado on that day, and he was calling Nichol Kessinger. I think she was kind of like, hanging around there. There was some story told about getting touch-up paint for her car that was perhaps picked up on that day. So of all of the pings from Nichol Kessinger's cell phone from July 14th to August 13th, the third time that she pinged in Frederick, Colorado was on the morning of August 13th at 6:16 a.m. This is a critical time because this would be right around the time, a little bit after the time that Chris Watts left his driveway after we saw, based on the security camera footage from neighbor Nate's security camera, that he had been packing his car for about half an hour, and then he took off heading to Cervi 319, where later that week, the bodies of his beautiful wife, Shanann, 15 weeks pregnant, his daughter, Bella, and his daughter, Cece, were found. Now, these things happened. They were real. This issue has been put to rest, and I'm showing you the evidence right here on this video. So guys, please, please take a look at everything that is available. Think for yourself, and don't ever just believe one source when it comes to critical information regarding this case or any other. At the time I made this video, there were some of those bullshitters putting out bullshit, trying to confuse people about things that are actually facts. So that's what that statement was about. You always have to ask yourself, who has an agenda and what exactly is that agenda? And we all know who you are. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I know what you're saying.
In case you still have any doubt regarding the phone ping, I'm going to break it down a little more for you to show you exactly why Nichol Kessinger's phone ping in Frederick, Colorado at 6:16 on August 13th means that she was right near 2825 Saratoga Trail, the residence of the Watts family.
MK Connecticut, thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate you, girl, and I'm so glad you're here. Okay, so here we have Saratoga Trail. Then we have where the Frederick Tower was. These two locations are very close. Now, guys, I want you to know that I was able to get the record and maps of the towers at the time of this tragedy in August 13th, 2018. And the towers that I have depicted on my visuals are towers that service Verizon, which was a carrier Kessinger was using. Okay, so down here where the little red marker is, that's Kessinger's residence. So her route to work up in Platteville is as shown over to the right up to Platteville. Takes a total of 33 minutes. You'll see right about in the middle of that map, you'll see Frederick. Okay. Now now what we're doing, guys, is we're zooming in to this full route, 33-minute route map. Okay. All right. So here it is. So you see next to this highway here, I have. Oh, wait, hold up. Skanky empanada and rotten potato. It's perfect. It's like a match made in heaven. Nichol Kessinger and Jen Soto. Ew. All these pictures of super cool Kessinger at the sand dunes. So that's just indicating that's her route going, you know, from the bottom of the screen upwards. Now you see over to the right, there's 1, 2, 3 towers with the pink arrows pointed towards them. Each of these 3 towers service Verizon, and they have bandwidths that are strong enough for sure to be favorable to pick up a signal of somebody traveling on this highway. The bandwidth probably is such for the highway traffic. Now you see the red arrow, the large red arrow here points to the tower that she pinged off of, okay? So just imagine Kessinger traveling along this highway that's highlighted in green right next to her picture. Just look at the distance of a car traveling on that highway, the distance from that car to the Frederick Tower or that car to any one of the towers to the right. The distance of the towers on the right is a lot less with a strong enough bandwidth than the distance of somebody traveling on that highway to the Frederick Tower. So what this tells me, really beyond a shadow of a doubt, is that she was right in the vicinity of 2825 Saratoga Trail.
So now let's move on to the 111-minute phone call And NK's personal timeline from that Sunday night, August.
Wait a minute. My mic was just off that whole time. Are you kidding me? You didn't hear me cracking up about the human slip and slide? Oh no. Was my mic off that whole time? Shit, that sucks. That's freaking fun. Ah, darn it. Because I was literally cracking up because narrator says that NK is basically the human equivalent of a slip and slide, which is like the best thing that I think I've ever heard, even better than Skanky and Pinata. So thank you for that. We are going to tuck that one away and bring it back out. Okay. Next, I was talking about, as far as this information that I'm speaking about with the cell phone signals and the cell phone towers. Before I got into my current career, I'm a behavioral therapist now. I was a site acquisition specialist. Who knew? You know, you make a lot of changes in life. But anyway, that's what I did. My friend hired me into his firm. My client was Verizon. So I basically worked through all the legal red tape. I worked with radio frequency engineers and all the people that knew all of the technical, like intricate, like smart person stuff about cell phone towers. And when Verizon wanted to expand its capacity, we would, have to put up, back in the day, it would be actually towers, but then after that it would be more like sectors or antennas, so they could expand their wireless capacity. Make sense? So I do have quite a bit of know-how in that field from working in that field. It's my job, which I thought was going to be a career, but things change, right? For 5.5 years. But this information that I'm talking about in this video in particular, that was calculated by the person whose firm I worked for, my friend, don't need to say his name, and somebody that was an engineer that helped him when I gave him this little project, or asked them to help me out as a favor to figure this out. So this information is solid.
12th into the morning of August 13th and into later that day, Monday, August 13th.
So, as I looked through all of Kessinger's phone bills, her phone bill from the dates of July 14th through August 13th, what I did was I looked at the longest call on each of these, pages of her phone bill. So I just want to note that the 111-minute phone call was really out of character for their conversations. This wasn't their normal pattern of talking to each other. So I went through and I looked at the longest phone call that NK held on each of these pages and the longest phone call that she had with Watts on each of these pages. And we find that, other than the 111-minute phone call, guys, the next three longest calls lasted 51 minutes, 52 minutes, and 54 minutes, respectively. So you see, that's a really long phone call. We could probably say, because there's only a short period of time that we don't have their phone records, according to when they say their relationship was occurring, it's probably safe to say that was the longest phone call that they ever had. So even when you look at cell ping information, this little, unofficial timeline here, we see that their 111-minute phone call, pointed to by this big red arrow, starts at 9:28 that Sunday evening, August 12th, and it ends at 11:19. There's no activity on NK's phone until the 6:16 a.m. ping the morning of August 13th. We see right here. So do you guys get this? So what I'm saying here, guys, is this is important. When we're looking at NK's phone bill for the relevant time here, okay, we have the 111-minute phone call, right? So that happens from 9:28 to 11:19, I think, on that Sunday night. And there is no other activity noted on her phone in this record. The next thing right next door to, consecutive with, is the 6:16 a.m. ping that is closer than 300 to 400 yards to the Watts residence from where Nichol Kessinger is standing with her phone, because we're sure that she has her phone. That is huge, guys. So it's the 111-minute phone call, ain't nothing happening on her phone. The next thing is the 6:16 a.m. ping. Rourke, go put that in your pipe and smoke it. Like, seriously, that's compelling. When she had a 1-minute phone call to her friend Jim is highlighted in yellow. The next activity, guys, on her phone was not until 2:28 p.m. And that call was initiated in Platteville. That's where she works. And again, this is a very unusual pattern for NK to not have any activity on her phone throughout the whole day. So now I also told you guys that the 111-minute phone call was conspicuously missing from the official discovery timeline. So just let me show you what I mean here. So here you see where this is the official redacted discovery. So you see right here in the middle of the page begins August 13th. Well, if you just go up a little bit, you're going into August 12th. Now, I want you to see how they included like everything that happened on August 12th. Everything that Chris Watts did on August 12th is in this discovery. Look at this is a lot of information as compared to the other dates in the official timeline. Hey, Tony, it's so nice to see you. I saw you at the other channel earlier. I'm so glad that you're here. Welcome back. In the discovery, it's like 5 or 6 pages long, okay? So look, August 12th starts right here. We have everything that Watts did starting at 7:32 a.m. that morning, okay? So now if we go back down or up or down, I'm scrolling down, but we're going up in time, right? We get to the evening. So at 21:13, so that would be at 9:13. We see that Shanann sent a message to Addie explaining things. At 21:29, which is 9:29, we have Shanann made an unanswered call to Watts. Well, the reason that likely is, my friends, is because a minute before that, at 9:28, or in military time, 21:28, that's when that 111-minute phone call began. There is no mention of that phone call here in the official discovery. I just find that to be a conspicuously missing piece of information. So I don't know if anyone has any comments or questions about that. I'd be interested to know what you think about that. Yeah, so I say it again. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I'm going to say it now. The 111-minute phone conversation is not in the discovery timeline. And in fact, Nichol Kessinger, who's skanky empanada slip and slide in this, is all over that discovery. Any mentioning of her name or reference to her is conspicuously absent from the discovery after she and Chris Watts go to the Lazy Dog restaurant that Saturday evening. Then there's a mentioning of her at 10:02 p.m. right after he leaves her house, where she Googles Chris Watts, Shanann Watts, Ronnie Watts, and 2025 Saratoga Trail. Then she's gone. Peace out for almost 2 full days and does not appear again in that discovery until Monday evening. But a lot of important things happen regarding Nichol Kessinger during that time. They just kept her out. I mean, every piece of information that man did that day, other than this phone call, is here on Discovery. So let's hear what Chris Watts and his former mistress, Nichol Kessinger, have to say about that 111-minute phone conversation that was much longer than any other phone conversation they had ever had. Notice how they use a lot of the same language.
What were you talking to Nikki about before your wife got home?
Before she got home?
We talked for like several hours.
I mean, we talked a lot. Just, conversations, and just random conversations. We talk a lot.
Does Nikki know about any of this? Seriously.
No, she doesn't know, like, I mean, she knows, like, from the news.
Meat of this whole
Let's get
situation.
to the phone
That was
call
a
on Saturday
squirrely
from 9
answer.
to 11. What did you guys, or pardon me, on Sunday from 9 to 11?
Yeah, we talked a few times. So Sunday,
Okay.
I think so. I need to think. I can't even think.
Take a couple breaths and take a second.
Sunday night. I don't even know. I don't think I was like concerned about anything at that point.
Oops.
You guys had a meal the night before. You knew his wife was probably coming home late that evening.
Oh, you know what? I still don't remember what we talked about. I like, honestly, like we talked about so much random stuff. Like it's so hard to pinpoint some of these things. I don't remember what we talked about. I do remember that was a long phone conversation that we probably talked about all sorts of stuff. One thing I do remember though, that I didn't remember earlier when I was talking to Mark. So this is like where I'm starting to remember like little bits and pieces. I don't remember. Yeah, I know. So the phone conversation, I don't remember what was in the phone conversation. Probably nothing of relevance, to be honest with you. But usually he talks to me when he's like down in the basement in his bed before he goes to bed and before I go to bed. And I could hear the TV on, which I thought was kind of weird. I didn't ask him. I just heard it in the background. And I remember thinking, and it was like right before we got off the phone, I was like, why the hell is he up? And there's like no TV downstairs. So I was like, well, maybe, I don't know.
No TV in the basement where he usually calls you from.
Yeah, and I don't know how many TVs they have.
So as you heard, guys, both Chris Watts and Nichol Kessinger, wrote off that question, what was said in that 2-hour conversation by saying, I don't know, it's just a bunch of random stuff. We just talk a lot, can't even remember. And Nichol Kessinger somehow diverted Kevin Kobach into, talking about the television situation in the Watts residence. It was totally ridiculous. So what's up with that? So you see, guys, here's the picture. The reason Nichol Kessinger is so suspicious is due to her deleting messages, breaking her SIM card, lying about why she did that, lying about knowing that Chris Watts' wife, Shanann, was 15 weeks pregnant, and a whole host of other things. The 6:16 a.m. ping, the 111-minute phone call the night before, well, actually, the time during which Shanann Watts was supposed to be returning home to her husband, the phone call that was longer than any call they had had before, at 11:25 on neighbor Nate's security camera footage. You see headlights driving by the Watts house. That's right after their phone call. I didn't even include that in this video. We can talk about that another time. And then after that 111-minute phone call, no activity on her phone until the 6:16 a.m. ping that I showed you was right near the Watts residence. And then after that 6:16 a.m. ping, no activity on her phone until 2:38 p.m., which is totally unusual for Miss Kessinger. And she has no alibi for that morning. There's no record of her punching into work, only punching out. So guys, seriously, what's up? That's the whole deal. I hope you understand things a little bit better now. Please leave a comment. Let me know what you think. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask. Oh my God, I did it again. And I just was going off like I do when my microphone is muted. I'm so sorry, guys. Don't even think I can remember what I was saying there. But the information with the phone record, Nichol Kessinger's phone record, is absolutely compelling and it is incriminating. So that is why, just like the 20 pages of text between Kobach and Nichol Kessinger that we reviewed last night, it was in the discovery for a hot second, then all of a sudden it went missing. Same thing with this phone bill record. That was the exact same thing because this information is incriminating. The 111-minute phone conversation that doesn't make the discovery timeline? What? And then
in those critical hours leading up to the murder, Nichol Kessinger goes missing from any mentioning in the timeline for almost 48 hours when that 111-minute phone call is happening, which is a big deal on its own because it's the longest call by far that either Nichol Kessinger or Chris Watts had on their phone record, period, in the time of their corresponding, in the time phone records were looked at, and it is right next to the 6:16 a.m. ping in Frederick, Colorado that we know happened right outside of the Watts house. But on bump, right? Oh, that would be great. I love a Britney Spears red jumpsuit. That would be so cool. Oh my gosh. All right. So Honeybun says, how many times has a crazy girlfriend been stalker girlfriend and did a drive-by to see whatever she could, maybe even in Jim's truck? But do you mean to account for the 6:16 a.m. ping? Because just say, I don't know if that's what you're saying, but when people do say that, that wouldn't even make sense though, because she knows that Shanann didn't get home until like 2 a.m. So if she was trying to get like a glance at Shanann at the, at the competition or the girls or something, she would know that Shanann was definitely sleeping at that time if she were still alive. My God, horrible. And she would also know that at 6:16 a.m., Chris has long gone, headed off to work, either to their office where she's going to see him or off to the field. So for her to just randomly drive by to check up on Chris like a jealous, crazy ex or girlfriend, like I get that totally. But for her to do that at that time would make no sense. So for that reason, I can't account for crazy girlfriendness explaining that 6:16 a.m. ping. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Veronica says she can remember the condom expiration date, but not the 111-minute phone call. I mean, my God, no doubt. God, horrible. I'm going to sport it. I can be Britney Spears. I don't know if I want to be Britney Spears. She's had some problems. Poor girl. Sloppy Taco, aka narrator, says she did not clock into work that morning and she knows Chris leaves earlier than that. So what was she doing there? Exactly. That's what I'd be saying. Yeah. Whoops. Who says this? Honeybun says, but Chris was going to Cervi 319 and she really didn't believe him. So doing that drive-by was like a confirmation if he was home or not. Home spending time with Shanann. Yeah, I mean, I guess that could be a possibility, but I just believe in my heart of hearts that she knew exactly what Chris was up to at that time. And I don't think at that time she was worried about him spending quality time with Shanann. I really just don't. But yeah. Yeah, it wasn't very serious while she was looking at wedding dresses for 2 hours, right? And Googling marry your mistress, Nuck and Fret says, I used to think she may have went there to tell Shanann about the affair. I think that is in the realm of possibilities. I do. Yeah. Amanda K, how are you doing, friend? Says, yeah, in my opinion, if she hadn't ever been to the house and wanted to see it, or if he lived elsewhere, them already being split up, and she was checking to see if his vehicle was there. That's what you're thinking. Let's see. The engagement ring. Yep, that's weird too. Yeah, she remembers they had chicken and carrots for lunch like a month ago, but can't remember the 111-minute phone call from, just like, half a day ago. And she is no Amber Fry. And we do have a stalker alert in full effect. Stephen Sean says she would have ended up driving Chris crazy. Oh, yeah. I mean, anyone. Local Jazz Hands, how are you doing? Says, but she just pretended that the 6:16 a.m. call never happened. Did anyone actually ask her? Not that we know of. When NK said she noticed the TV, I think she low-key was worried if Chris Watts was waiting up on Shanann. She wasn't even low-key about it. She's like, I was like, is he waiting up for her? She says that, and she says that twice. Like, that is exactly, I believe, what she was thinking. And then she called her sex guru. Right. Wedding ring was expensive. Yep, $12,000. That's where apparently we're at. So listen, I'm going to bring in the video from True Psych Ward. And again, this was uploaded. They, the trip that they did out to Colorado, to Weld County and Frederick and Cervi 319 was 4 years ago. This was before the Cervi, before the batteries were even taken down. But all of this information is so super relevant. And I think you're going to be like, wow. So let's do it. Let's see, where is that? And if you haven't checked out True Psych Ward, if you're not familiar with the channel, please definitely go do it. I know you'll just love the channel. And give her a subscribe. Whoa! Holy bunny noise alert. Who's doing what there? Y'all okay? Did you hear that? I'm sure you did. Yeesh. Okay. I have bunnies. If you don't know that. Sometimes they get loud. All right. So this again is True Psych Ward. What we learned about Chris Watt's case in Colorado. Everyone get your popcorn or your homemade chicken soup.
Hi everyone, thanks for watching. This is Dr. B. So let's talk about this Frederick trip that my sister and I took. Actually, the Colorado trip, not just Frederick. So it was a 14-hour journey. We took a road trip through Iowa and Nebraska and finally made it into Colorado. And it was an interesting journey, that's for sure. A lot has happened. We've learned a lot. And I'm just trying to figure out how to put it in a way that it makes sense. So I'm just going to start at the beginning.
Colorado, finally, and we're at a rest stop now, just chilling like a villain. They have a big trail here, like anyone would want to go hiking while they're resting. But look, they also have an area for Martin Dean to come exercise. So sweet of them.
So the first thing that we noticed when we entered Colorado was a sign for Keensburg. And I recalled that the Cervi Ranch was located in Keensburg, or around Keensburg, in Rogan, actually. So I suggested that we go check it out and see what we can find. I was particularly interested in the consistency of the soil on the ranch because I wanted to know how long it would take someone to dig a shallow grave.
Damn it, I almost did it again. Okay, I just want to say that Dr. B is in agreement with me on this one. I told you guys recently, or I've talked about before, that once Chris Watts arrives at Cervi 319, based on his phone activity, he has 47 uninterrupted minutes, except for when he takes that weird, mysterious picture with his phone of his laptop screen, the one that apparently the FBI or CBI can't decipher the writing on because it's a thumbnail, it's too small. At 7:18 a.m., he has 47 uninterrupted minutes, just all by himself in his horrible, godforsaken, unthinkable, Satan-induced sins that he's committing. 47 minutes there all by himself to do what he's doing. So Dr. B is saying she wants to see what the consistency of the soil is like, because that is going to factor into, could he have done all that he did or that someone did in that 47 minutes? And her conclusion at the end, well, you'll see. But I think this is just all really smart.
So this footage is from the Facebook Live that we did once we actually got on the ranch. It was very, very emotional to actually be here. There's just this heaviness in the air. And initially I thought it was because of the altitude, because we had traveled upwards over 1,500 meters. And I'm sure that had something to do with it. But besides that, even just being here was so overwhelming. And to know that this is the path that they took that morning, and how scary it must have been for those little girls. So I cut out some of the drive up there, and it's a very long drive, and it's very complicated because a lot of these little roads aren't on the map, so you really have to kind of pay attention. But nevertheless, I mean, you can tell just how desolate it is, how dusty it is, how just scary it is. And it was like surreal being there in person. Both my sister and I were overcome with emotions, and just seeing those batteries, it's devastating. It really is devastating. After getting lost a couple of times, we finally figured out how to get to Cervi 319, or close enough to it. So this is the drive up to the tanks. And you can see right here, we come up to the gates, and this is where it really, really became emotional for all of us.
So that right there is Cervi 319.
And here I was actually looking at the consistency of the ground, and this is sped up a little bit, so I'm not actually moving that fast. But you can see that the entire ground is covered by sand, very soft sand at that. So it is, in my opinion, that it would not be difficult for Chris to dig a grave, a shallow grave at that, on his own, especially having tools that he had, like the shovel and everything else. So
I'm with you.
I was really, really surprised with that.
You know what? I just want to pause and read this comment because I think about that all the time. And I think it's so important to think about the victim's experience. Stephen Sean says that must have been very scary, even looking at that place for the girls. And my God, can you imagine, Bella? I mean, seriously, guys, like, where the fuck is my dad taking me? You know, I mean, it's just horrible. Remove.
I just want to apologize for the crappy quality at times. The reception out there was very spotty. And like I said, this was a live video, so it relied a lot upon the internet connection. So I apologize for that, but I think you can kind of get a gist of what we're trying to portray here, just how desolate it is and almost like desert-y, if that makes sense. After Cervi, we went to our hotel finally to just check in and to gather ourselves and figure out what we're going to do next. On our way out, we drove through the town of Rourke, and I don't even know if we can call it a town. It's literally like 4 or 5 houses. It's a very, very small community, and it's really eerie. I can't imagine what the people who live and work there every day, I wonder if this is on their mind when they go to work, or if they think about it. I mean, it's just so devastating. And while we were at Cervi, something caught my eye, and I had to stop. A single sunflower in a field of sand. And I know this case is full of symbolism, and I just had to snap this picture. Once we got settled in, we thought, where should we go first? So on our second day, we went to Dave Bunk's Minerals because it bothered me that Chris was researching minerals and rocks for 4 hours, and specifically Dave Bunk Minerals. So, of course, we went in and asked some questions. We weren't really prepared because I didn't think this through well enough. So I made a complete ass of myself in front of Dave Bunk himself. And how I did that was, as I said, like, we weren't prepared and didn't really know how to approach him. So we just started asking some questions about minerals. And mind you, we have no idea about rocks, minerals, whatever. And at one point, he interrupted me and he asked, he meaning Dave Bunk, he goes, "What do you really want to know?" I mean, he was on to us. And don't ask why, but we didn't feel comfortable saying why we were there. So we just kind of blew it off. But it was embarrassing, and we do not speak of this. Well, despite the embarrassment, we ended up asking him about dioptase, and he gave us a rundown, a little bit of a history about dioptase, and I'd asked him if it can be used as a tea or whatever, just going through all the different theories that we have, and he told me that absolutely no, that he's not very familiar with the metaphysical aspects of minerals, meaning like all the voodoo stuff, and that he's simply just a rock collector, and as are many other people, and that it had nothing to do with like witchcraft or whatever. So that made sense to me, actually, and it made sense. I don't remember where I read it, but I think Chris said that NK has like an entire like cabinet, or like a display of minerals. And and another thing that Dave Bunk said is that you cannot dissolve dioptase in water. And he said if you want to give someone hydrochloric acid to drink, that's where dioptase will dissolve. So he has a dry sense of humor as well, which I loved. But yeah, so I think it's safe to say that there was no weird stuff going on with the crystals and the rocks. I think that NK probably only collects them. I mean, they are gorgeous. So, and she's a, excuse me, she's a geologist. So all of that makes sense. I think that the witchcraft stuff has been blown out of proportion way too much, in my humble opinion.
I agree with Dr. B on that and most things. I think I agree with her on almost everything except something she's about to say about the Lazy Dog restaurant in a little bit.
So after that disaster with Dave Bunk, we decided to recreate Chris's movements from August 8th. And we started off at
So August 8th, guys. So the and I hadn't watched this video in forever ever. So it's just kind of coincidental she's talking about that. The ultimatum video that I just put out a couple weeks ago is all about August 8th, the date that determined fate. All right. That was a day when they were scheduled to go to the apparent ultrasound to find out the sex of the baby. Okay, at 7 p.m. Strange but true, apparently. The day before, the whole family had just returned home from North Carolina to Frederick, Colorado. Chris went back to work. Right after work, I don't know how he pulled this off with Shanann hot on his tail, but he went to Nichol Kessinger's house. Geotab location information shows this. And in the ultimatum video, I give you all the details. He went to Nichol Kessinger's apartment right after work, okay? He parked there at 3:09 p.m., and 2 minutes later, 3:11 p.m., he changed Shanann's contact information in his phone. Super weird. He's at NK's place. He says that NK on that day told him that she told her friends about him. That is why he deleted his Facebook account, so her friends wouldn't look him up and find out that his wife, not just that he has a wife, but that the wife is pregnant. It is also on that day that Nichol Kessinger gives him a key to her house. And after he leaves Nichol Kessinger's house to go to the ultrasound appointment with Shanann, about 1 hour later is when she gets on her Googler and starts Googling marrying your mistress. For the first time, we see her using the word marry, marrying, any form conjugated any way you want of marry, a union, in her Googler searches. So very interesting day. I might be missing something there, but all that happened.
NK's old apartment building, and we drove to Saratoga Drive. We did this on Facebook Live as well, so here's a clip of that.
And he was at work all day, and then at 3:09 p.m. he came. His GPS pinged him at 12244 Race Street, which is where we're currently at.
Yep.
And this is where his car was parked for 3 hours while he was at NK's house. And she lives in these apartment complexes right here, or used to anyways. So we're not going to go in there just because people live there and this is their life. So we're not going to intrude, but we will follow his GPS coordinates. So from her house, so he was here, he arrived at 3:09. He changed something in his phone. He modified Shanann's contact in his phone. And then he went inside and was with NK for 3 hours. And then he left at 6 p.m. and drove home, which is what we're going to do now. We're going to drive the route that he took back to his house. And once he arrived home, he went with Shanann to the ultrasound. So that's August 8th. So that's what we're doing right now.
The drive there was pretty boring, and I sped this up as well, but another reason why I wanted to take this drive was because this would be the drive that NK would have taken that morning if she was going to work. the morning she pinged in Frederick. So I just wanted to get a feel for that drive. It's 20 minutes, and now having been there myself and having driven all of those routes, I can almost guarantee you that she was not on her way to work that morning. The reason why I say that is because she would have had to take I-25, which is the highway that goes through Frederick. And that's the highway that we're taking right now. We're actually getting on right now. And in the mornings, it is jam-packed. I mean, traffic on that highway is pretty rough during rush hour. I think at this time when we were actually going there, it wasn't. It was more like brunch time. But in the mornings and after work, it is really packed. So I highly doubt that she would have taken this route to work, knowing that she never has before. Once we started approaching Frederick and we started seeing the exits.
I just have to interject with this because I see you guys are talking about, how Shanann was found legs bent or straight. Rigor mortis doesn't begin to set in a human body until 2 to 4 hours after death. So, or actually it might be 2 to 6. We've consulted medical people about this. There's a range, and I know it's more than 2 hours and less than 8, okay? But it's a pretty vast range. It's like 2 to 4, 2 to 6. So, we have no idea if and I'm trying to say this in the most respectful way. I don't even like talking about the autopsy information and stuff on this channel because I am not an expert in any means on that topic. But since I just want to interject with that, we just, because we're facts here. According to the medical professionals, there's a range of when rigor mortis tends to start to set in a human body, depending on the health of the body, the quality of the muscle tissue, the constitution of the body, the ambient temperature, and a whole bunch of other things. And the range is pretty vast, and it's I think 2 to 6 hours. So we wouldn't know. Actually, with that range, it seems almost unlikely that she would have been in a state of rigor mortis where she was not movable. And again, I feel a little uncomfortable even talking about that, but I just wanted to say that. But you're welcome to discuss, but I just wanted to say that.
For Frederick, it's funny how the 2 towers that she pinged at are like right there, as is the McDonald's. And it started making sense, not only with just being there, but also in our conversations with Vanessa from Unmasked, whom we've met up with later on. But it's interesting that the McDonald's in question is right as you get off the expressway. So any cameras that McDonald's would have would capture people getting off and on the highway. So I thought that was interesting. And in the records release that we obtained, we did get a bunch of McDonald's footage. So once we got off on the exit, we noticed that there were cameras on the traffic lights. And we wondered about that, like if those could be retrieved. And I'm sure those captured something. But yeah, once we actually got off on the exit, it became pretty emotional because we knew we were approaching the house and we knew that we were pretty close. So I think it was also a bit surprising of just how close everything was. And here you can see the McDonald's and the traffic lights with the cameras that weren't checked. We asked Amanda about those cameras, by the way, and she said that they never retrieved them, that those cameras and the footage belongs to the Colorado Department of Transportation, which I thought, okay, so you could still get them, right? But the answer was no. Once we drove into the Wyndham Hills neighborhood, it was so peaceful and so quiet. But at the same time, there was like this heaviness, this sadness that weighed in the air. But a lot of this should look familiar just from all of the body cam footage. Like, for example, this is where they were passing out the flyers. And you'll recognize this road leading to the house. These are the mailboxes where Chris would stop every day to pick up the mail. And then at the very end of this road, you can see their house. It's the biggest house in the neighborhood. It stands out like just a monument of sadness. It looks abandoned, weeds everywhere. It's just scary and sad. So as I've mentioned before, this was all recorded on Facebook Live, and we were also answering questions along the way. Like, we wanted to see the gravel path, the size of it, and just kind of like check out all the different angles. So let's just play a clip from that live.
So right now I'm on the street. This is public property. I'm not on private property. I'm walking on a sidewalk right now. Okay, I'm trying to not get houses of people that are living here because it's their privacy. So I just want to show these trees. Of the truck that we believe Betty was saying that was parked. Okay. So, yeah. I'm shaking, guys, so if it's like, I'm like really, really shaky. And my heart is like pounding so bad. Okay, so here's the gravel path. Again, I am not trespassing. I am now on the street, public property. I'm shaking, guys. Their doorbell camera is still there. I think that's it. It looks like it. I'm not sure. Because I'm outside and the sun is directly in my face and it's darkening my screen. I'm having a hard time seeing comments. So sorry if I'm not responding. I'm really not ignoring you. Nemoj stajati tu. Yeah, that's a sidewalk. I don't know what's on the front door, but I'm not going to walk up there to see. If I had a guess, it may be because the house is vacant. Yeah. So notices for that.
Just thinking. I think he definitely told him to.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think it was.
Why we didn't see him. We didn't see him
And this branch right here.
Oh, there's the infamous security footage tree.
It's not even a bush. It's 2 freaking trees. And in my opinion, do you see the branch that's sticking out there? I think on the CCTV, as the wind is blowing, do you see how it's moving? And I think it creates the effect of the ponytail because he's coming from out here. So his head, do you see what I mean? Like the effect.
Do you want to go drive around? Yeah. Okay. We're gonna drive around.
So before we drove around, I pulled up to the gravel path, and I don't know if you can tell, but it only covers about half of the car. So I honestly don't think that would have worked out. But anyways, this is behind the house now. So let's continue watching.
So we are in the neighborhood behind their house, the one that was still in construction in 2018. And there's the back of their house.
Wow, it looks just so ingrown, like everything is.
I know.
Oh my God.
I got a headache again. Holy crap. This is like, oh my goodness.
Bella would have just turned 11 this past December 17th.
Let's see for a reference. So I'm 5'7". It's so much smaller in person.
Yeah, there's nothing on the deck. There's nothing under the deck. The playground set is still there.
It looks so much smaller. Like the backyard looks a lot smaller than it does on the body cam. Oh, I gotta walk away.
Look. Oh my God.
Definitely a lot smaller. Wow. And I don't know, this window just looks kind of, I don't know, smaller than it looks on the footage. Oh my God.
So this happened on August 13th, 2018, right? So it is now 2025. So this coming August, it will have been 7 years.
This is so sad.
After checking out the house, we drove to Black Mesa Road, where Chris stopped for 4 minutes before he met with the officer. And we stopped there just because we wanted to just kind of recreate the movement of that morning and that day. So this is, I don't know, at the time of the crime, I believe there were more construction sites around this area, and I believe that there was a red dumpster in that vicinity. So I don't know what he did for those 4 minutes. Neither do law enforcement, obviously. But I don't know if he disposed of evidence. I don't know if he had anything with him. It's just this part is not clear to me. So and if you recall the mailboxes that we showed you earlier, those are literally like right around the corner. So initially that was my thought. My thought was, did he really stop at the mailboxes right before he went home to meet with a police officer who was there to look for his wife, whose body he had just disposed of? And that's just odd. Like, we know that Chris is an idiot when it comes to this. So like, that was the dumbest thing he could have done. But I don't know, like those 4 minutes and what he did during that time will always kind of nag at me, if you will. And we know that he had Shanann's watch on him at that time. Several people had suggested that maybe he had put the watch in the mailbox that morning and then picked it back up. So that could be a possibility. We just don't know. On our way out of the neighborhood, we stopped by the house again just to get another glimpse at it. We came back to the house on our last day as well, just to leave some flowers at the door for the victims. And we had members of our group write messages for the victims if they wished to do so. So on our last day, we stopped back again and left those flowers. But here, I just wanted to get some footage of the side gate where Nate explained that he captured Chris walking out of. And we were hoping that this footage would also be in the files, but I haven't gone through everything yet. But from what I've seen so far, I don't think it is. And we'll get to that. After we left the neighborhood, we went back to our hotel, and we had made plans to meet up with Vanessa from Unmasked for dinner at the Lazy Dog. And we know that the Lazy Dog has been a subtopic of discussion in this case because of the 2 menus and NK's interview. So we went to the Lazy Dog, and unfortunately, the wait time was over an hour. So we ended up going to the Rusty Bucket, and well, actually next to the Rusty Bucket, because the Rusty Bucket right now is closed. So we were at the plaza where NK and CW hung out. Recall NK's interview in which she said that the Lazy Dog was one of the only times that they were out in public. Well, I can confirm now that that's not true at all, because this Orchard Mall place is not a place where you go to hide. Since we didn't get a chance to visit the Lazy Dog with Vanessa, my sister and I decided to venture out there ourselves. We first went to the first Lazy Dog on 120th and Federal, where NK said she would go with her dad all the time. We didn't find the Lazy Dog there, but we did find a bar called Elevate. So we checked it out a little bit more, and it turns out that this bar used to be called the Lazy Dog Sports Bar and Grill, and they actually changed the name to Elevate. So this is a Facebook post from the old Lazy Dog, and this is literally from the night that NK and Chris were there. and they officially closed the Lazy Dog September 5th, 2018. Then we went to the actual Lazy Dog where NK and CW ended up eating, and the menu was definitely different. It's a different owner, it's a different chain.
Because I just have to say I disagree with this, because I did research on this before I even had this channel. And one of our moderators, friends of the channel, Molson Man, who's been a little respite, and did research. We didn't even know each other at the time. We both had found the same thing. So the two Lazy Dogs, as they were at the time when Chris and Nichol Kessinger, went out on that Saturday night, Saturday, August 11th, they were still part of the same franchise. They were like franchise. So there were different owners, but they were part of the same umbrella business. Now, because, the business, one of the businesses is more established, the other business is growing, they're trying to franchise out more, right? So the younger businesses have the liberty to change like specials. Like one of the things that they said, because we actually spoke to people, is they can have their own happy hour. So, featuring their own happy hour cocktails, and then a menu of tapas to go with that particular happy hour. Now it's only going to be served for an hour or two early in the evening. Everything else is the same seasonal menu between the Lazy Dogs at the time when Chris and Nichol Kessinger went out on that date. So I do not agree with Dr. B on this one particular point. And what Molson Man and I learned to be true means that Nichol Kessinger's excuse for, I didn't like that menu, is complete bullshit. Still a skanky empanada.
Chain of restaurants completely. And this Lazy Dog is actually called Lazy Dog Restaurant and Grill or something like that. So they definitely went to two different Lazy Dogs, and the menus were definitely different. So for once, NK didn't lie about that. On our last day, we went to Frederick to pick up the files. We met up with Vanessa again from Unmasked, and we took a deep breath and we went in. The first thing that we noticed in the police station was a plaque that was dedicated to
Get this, y'all. Hold on to your hats and take a freaking Alka-Seltzer because you're about to have heartburn.
To the officers who investigated the Watts murder case. And we thought that was a little bit odd, just weird. So we finally got the files and we had a little conversation with Amanda. And the conversation was very weird because, as you know, they've been kind of holding back a lot of these files. And we were initially supposed to get a lot more than what we actually got. So we just had a couple of questions for Amanda. We recorded our conversation with Amanda, and the reason why we did that is only because emotions were running high for everyone, and we wanted to make sure that we clearly understood exactly what was going on with the release of the records and who the custodian of the records is and who's putting a stop to us getting all of the files, and just kind of trying to understand what exactly is going on. The conversation is recorded. However, we're not sure about the legality of releasing that recording, so I'm going to refrain from that for now, but I will try to transcribe and summarize what Amanda did tell us. And one of the things that she did tell us is that the phone records cannot be released because it contains information about friends and family that is not relevant to the case. So when we asked Amanda that we already know all the family and friends in this case, she kind of like deferred it back to the district attorney and said that in actuality, he's the custodian of the records. And after discussing it with him, they have decided that they would not release the rest of the records, including the phone records as well as the video of NK's interview. So all of that was just weird. At one point, and after discussing it with him, they have decided that they would not release the rest of the records. Referred it back to the district attorney and said that in actuality, he's the custodian of the record.
All right, guys. So just hear what she's saying, okay? It's Amanda Purcell is the gatekeeper, okay? But this is all on the shoulders of the district attorney. You know who that is? The Honorable Michael J. Rourke. I see you, Michael J. Rourke.
Records. And after discussing it with him, they have decided that they would not release.
Amanda Purcell. Whoops. Amanda Purcell. She is in the Discovery. She's mentioned the Discovery several times. She works in the Weld County, whatever office they're in, but with district attorney work. I just can't. I think this is it's getting late. Can't think of it. But she works with district attorney work and the county records, the city records, the court records. So she's just kind of like the keeper of the records. Okay. But they're saying that they asked Amanda Purcell and she said, well, you know, this is under district attorney Rourke's domain. He is the keeper of the records. He is the decision maker of what shall be released and what shall not be released. And if he wants to give us a bullshit story to disseminate to y'all, he can do so. If he doesn't feel like it, he expects that I'm going to make one up for him. I see you, Michael Rourke.
Release the rest of the records, including the phone records as well as the video of NK's interview. So all of that was just weird. At one point, I asked Amanda point blank, so is it the DA that we have to take this up with? And she pretty much said yes. Like she nodded her head and said yes. And I understand that they are within their legal limits. But at the same time, I also feel like there's a lot that's being kind of held back from the public. I believe that the reason for this is that there is likely still an open and active investigation, not with the Frederick Police Department. So the case of the Watts homicides is closed. That leaves another agency, either like the CBI or the FBI. So in my opinion, there must be an entire different case that's currently being investigated. And that's pretty much the gist that I got from our conversation. I've told Amanda and I've also told our group members that we will be getting together and we will be drafting an appeal to the judge, because the reason that was given to us is complete BS in my opinion, and it's very vague. They didn't specify why exactly it wouldn't be in the public interest. So if there is an open investigation, obviously we don't want to interfere with that. But I think appealing their decision and taking it to a judge to decide would probably be the best way to go about this. As you can imagine, we didn't get a chance to go through all of the files. We're going to be discussing the contents of the files in more detail, and we will also analyze any new data that is in there. So stay tuned. On our last day in Colorado, we decided to pick up some flowers and go back to the house on Saratoga Trail and drop them off with your messages to the victims.
So we're at the house now, as you can see, getting ready to drop off the flowers and the notes, the cards.
Where's my phone?
and it's incredibly sad and heavy. We parked right in front of Nate's house, as you can see. So, and I added a little note from all of us. Well, I don't know why I'm breathing. And I thought it was cute that there was 4 flowers.
As you can imagine, it was very emotional leaving those flowers. One of our group members is friends with Nicole Atkinson, actually, and she messaged her about the flowers. And Nicole Atkinson actually decided to pick up those flowers because she said that the HOA is very strict and they don't let people leave things around. So she asked if she could pick it up and hold it for us. And of course, we agreed to that. So it's very comforting to know that our messages of love and support are in safe hands. While we might not have gotten the files that we were looking for, specifically these phone records, I think we learned a lot on this trip. And some of the conclusions that I came to personally that I think are important are that Chris could have dug the grave by himself. NK didn't lie about the lazy dogs. And I'm pretty confident that there is an open and active investigation with either the CBI or the FBI or both. I'm still processing a lot of the emotions and a lot of my thoughts. This is just kind of like a summary of our trip and just some of the major findings, but we will definitely be diving in deeper. And I definitely would like to hear your thoughts about everything. So please leave us a comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, do all of that. Join our Facebook group. I'm going to be putting a bunch of links in the description. If you have any questions, please let us know. I'm pretty sure I forgot something, but let's keep talking.
All right. Yeah. So again, guys, that was True Psych Ward. If you're not familiar with the channel, go check it out. Excuse me. There's tons of Watts material, content, and it's just it's just a great channel. So yeah, what did you guys think of that? Let me find some good visual here while we're chatting. I know a lot of you guys want to see the back of the house, so let's look at that again. There we go. All right. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That is creepily ironic. Ooh, what's creepily? I want to. Oh, hey, guilty. Or, geez, it's so late. Guilty of crime. How are you doing? Oh yeah, I agree on that for sure. For sure. Yeah, it is interesting, right? Totally. Yeah. Yeah, Dr. B. Yep, that's right. Dr. B of True Psych Ward. Thank you. The plaque at the police department is just weird. It's so freaking weird. Actually, let's take a look at that. Yeah, so it does appear that it is just the Frederick Police Department folks. See, there's Amanda Purcell. She is the records evidence supervisor. Okay, so we were just talking about her. Yep. Officer Coonrod, Steve, don't know how to say his last name, never did. Brad Davies, Matt James, Paul Scarlett. You'll recognize a lot of these names from the Discovery. Jared Bakes, Ken Dahl, Andy Fairbanks, Ivan Perez, Dave Baumhover, Pat Cochran, Ian Albert, Aaron Herbert, Ed Goodman, Kate Lines. Shoot, never mind. Lindsay Semmons. I don't recognize that one. Lindsay Semmons.
Bob Betzel, Brent Manley, Todd Norris, Dave Egan, Justice for Shanann, Bella Celeste, and Baby Nico. We did not find. We did not. So what the fuck is this plaque for? Right? Ugh. Yeah, right. I think we just leave Rourke alone. Seriously, though. I see you, Michael Rourke. I see you. Mm-mm. Oh, yeah, it is good footage at the back of the house. That's right. Let's go back there. So funny how she was talking about Dave Bunk Minerals. She was like so uncomfortable about it. Like, why don't you be like, okay, listen, we're like Watts Case junkies. We just want to know everything. Tell us. Spill it, Dave Bunk. You know? I feel like I would have said that. No shame. No shame. My channel's called Watsy Obsession. I have no shame. Yeah, for sure. Big oil. Right. This is the amazing thing. Local Jazz Hand said, Chris actually thought this was a good idea. He actually thought he could do this and live happily ever after. Unfathomable. No doubt. Yeah, I don't know. You guys are starting to like sway me towards the back. I've always thought that she was in the truck just like but I don't know. You guys are influencing me. Never seen that channel. Yeah, they were very active. They put this video out like 4 years ago. I mean, I don't know how active the channel is right now, to be honest, but I do know that there's great stuff. Whenever I come across it, it's always amazing. If you can't afford cable, you can't afford a side piece. I love it. So funny. Congratulations on a job not done, right? Oh my God. Is anyone familiar with the David Elmquist case? It sounds familiar, but I would certainly not say I'm familiar with it. I will look into it though, for sure. Detective Baumhover had to retire after this case, severe PTSD. Yeah. Seriously, Veronica says it's like the Stearns. If Stearns confess, then the investigation stops. What about the ugly rotten potato? New skanky empanada? Casey Anthony? Right. What about all those bitches who've done terrible things? Seriously. Steph Sean says, I heard someone say the reason for the plaque was because of the emotional toll it took on the people who found the children. Okay. All right. You know what? Touche. I certainly give them that. I mean, really. Yeah. I mean, that's a good point. Yep. Yeah. Did Chris Watts find out it was called Nutgate from that one author? I think it was from I think his parents referred to it as such. I think that they may refer to it as that before all this happened. Like that one night he spent with them at their last day in North Carolina. Because, they were all busting on Shanann for sure, right? Nicole Atkinson. Oh, I know, right? I see Rourke too, Kelly. Right? He is a little man. Come here, Rourke. Come play with us. We will eat you alive. Special thanks to NK for her cooperation, right? Oh my God. Yeah, you could be right, girl. Never underestimate just how stupid Chris Watts is. And I'm telling you, Kelly, he didn't bring her through the garage into the truck. All right. You guys are convincing me. You are. Well, did anyone see pregnant Shanann Watts and the white sheet on the video from Nate? Right. I gotcha. Good point. He is so slimy. Maybe a discount side piece who already has a boyfriend named Jim. Oh God. Let's see. Welcome. How are you doing? You never see him carrying anything that could have been Shanann out to the truck. I think the theory of taking her out the back makes sense. Maybe to NK's truck. You guys could totally be right. I mean, absolutely. You don't see anything that looks like that. I agree with that. Has anyone seen part of Nate's footage where he's doing that? Okay. There is one part where, to me, it looks like he's walking backwards. And it is possible he could be doing kind of like a reverse, like fireman's carry, kind of like dragging someone along. You know, somebody postulated that maybe, you know, if he was doing that, that her feet would have been up on that wagon that the girls had. I don't know. And I'm not saying I think that's it, but I think that is possible, is going out the back. Kelly, I think you know what I want to do now. Road trip. Let's road trip. We'll go to freaking Crime Com. But I have to, oh, you know what? I'm going to look at it right now. I'm going to find out what my schedule is for next school year. Hold it. Everybody pause so I can see if I can go to Crime Con for a long weekend or just a very short weekend. It's in Denver. Oh, come on. I don't want to like do all that. Come on. DC. Oops. Don't say it out loud, Kelly. Jeez. Okay. Let's see. Oh, shoot. I don't even know if we have next year out yet. But this year, our first day with kiddos was on the 5th. So yeah, we'll figure it out though. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Yeah, Cindy called it Nutgate. Yeah. Moscow police going to give themselves a plaque out in Idaho. Well, see how everything turns out. No, I don't think they would. Let's see. No, he does not have an IQ of 140. I've spoken about this before. I administer certain IQ assessments to teenagers, not adults, but to teenagers. And you just kind of get an idea of like the kind of IQ number range that goes with a person and how they present themselves. Obviously, it's not perfect. You know what I'm saying? There ain't no way bitch has 140 IQ. No way. She even says in his interview in Wisconsin that the back door or the exact, you know, they do talk about the back door. I was just listening to that the other day because it has to do with, wait a minute, hold it. I just included this in a video I very recently made. So which one is it? Hold it. Oh, I know. Hold it. Wait. Oh, I don't know if it's in it. I know where it is though. If you want, I don't know. How long are we at? Okay. Hold please. Yeah, Crime Con's in Colorado. Let's go, guys. Hey, Trailer Trish Barbie, you're right. There's so much to this case. Oh my gosh. What classes, courses I take to be what I am? Well, I got a master's degree in special education, and then I got a master's degree in applied behavioral therapy. Not saying he's completely stupid, but his IQ couldn't be over 100. Well, 100 being average. Yeah, I would say I put him at about a 110. Just a guess, you know. He wrote a letter to another creator with some answers in the beginning when Lana was involved, where it said it was only him and Bella in the truck, Shania Watts and Cece out in the back. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. No, I don't think that's true. I could always be wrong, but I do not think that's true. Oh, Giovanni's Pikachu, we were just talking about that. We don't know because they did have the same menus. Myself and Molson Man investigated this separately before I even had this channel. And the only thing the two lazy dogs were allowed to do that was different were certain happy hour specials, meaning cocktails. And then they could have like a special tapas menu that went along with their popular happy hour time. So I'm not sure what's up with that. Chris is one of those smart idiots. 110. Hey, Sarah, sounds right. That's where I would place myself. And I think I'm probably just as smart as Chris Watts. No offense to myself. That's a great comment. Aw. We think you're smarter and better in every way. Chris is one of those smart idiots, really good at puzzles and problems, but a complete dipshit when it comes to common sense. Yeah, Veronica, I think so too. That's what my whole basement theory is about. Yeah. Big up, Sarah. Yeah. All right, guys, listen, I am going to have to end this because I'm tired. I did a live stream last night, and this is my second live stream tonight because we did go live to talk about the plane crash in Philadelphia because that plane crashed about a mile from where I lived in Philadelphia. Well, there are two different neighborhoods I lived in, but the last time I lived in Philadelphia, just before I moved here back to New York 7 years ago. So, we're thinking of those victims and the people that are working hard to make sure there aren't other victims in Philadelphia. But yeah. Footprint on Cece's back. What are you talking about? I still wonder about that footprint on Cece's back. What? And why there's no interview with Lazy Dog? That is a very good question. In the investigation, they were all kinds of confused about the two lazy dogs. It was just like a mess, like the rest of it. Love you guys too. Yeah. All right. It's always so hard to say goodbye to you. So I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to say goodbye. But remember, life is hard, especially with people like Chris Watts and Nichol Kessinger in this world. Especially when Nichol Kessinger's not behind bars. Jen Soto too. Let's make a list. We put some Casey Anthony on there tonight. Good call. But so be nice to each other because we are the not so crazy people of the world. And especially be good to yourself because you deserve it. You do. You do. So just be good to yourself. Who is making chicken soup tonight? Go take some Theraflu was that you, Kylie? Don't get heartburn and be good to yourself. So I don't know. I'm going to be putting out a video this weekend, maybe doing another live stream. I have a Karen Reed video that's about to pop, and also another Idaho video. So be looking for those. And thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you, moderators, subscribers, and members, and people just stopping by. Oh, hey, Ellie Cat, how are you doing? I appreciate all of you, and I hope to see you guys soon. Please be safe. Don't act like a skanky empanada. For God's sake, just don't do it. And I'm not going to bust on the plaque anymore because Steph and Sean just said it might be because of the PTSD they endured. So I respect that. Chicken and carrots, chicken and carrots.